In this episode, you'll discover why rest is the most masculine thing you can do and how exhaustion is ego disguised as dedication. Welcome to Energy Alignment for Entrepreneurs, the podcast helping entrepreneurs be free from anxiety, stress, and tension through balancing emotions and consciousness expansion. Here's 3 things you'll learn today. Number 1, why the warrior sleeps deeply while the amateur stays wired and exhausted. Number 2, how overtraining your nervous system destroys the gains you're working for. And number 3, the difference between lazy rest and strategic recovery. So, the big topic here is unraveling the depth, power, and strength in stillness, space, and awareness of what your body is communicating to you beyond your mind's expectations or egotistical drives for external validation. The point here, when we look at number 1, why the warrior sleeps deeply, amateur stays wired, exhausted, the bottom line is that for you to be the best at anything, that means it's you versus you. And a true warrior, if you will, doesn't concern himself with what everyone else thinks of. That's not the mentality of a warrior. That's not the mentality of anyone on the highest level of their field. When you are able to sleep deeply and actually recover while others just stay wired and that causes them to exhaust themselves, it's not about you being better than other people. This is just about you feeling what you've created through how you've lived. And there comes that point where you say, I actually can see the value in slowing down. I can see the value in stretching. I can see the value in breathing, in centering my energy, awareness, attention. Let's hop into point number 2. How overtraining your nervous system destroys the gains you're working for. So I really want to break this down into sort of the buckets of power, love, strength, which is one bucket, and then fear, weakness, insecurity, etc. Because right now, for the past over 300 days, I've probably trained every day, except for one, and I was shoveling and doing snow plowing, and I was doing that all day. Point is, when you have this idea of what overtraining is, you can create a placebo effect that actually limits your gains. So I challenge you to find your limit in relationship to training, exercise. It doesn't have to be just weightlifting. It could be any sport. But really, to let your nervous system guide you. And that means that when you train in a way where you challenge yourself all while still earning something. You earn it through working hard, but you also understand that the level of work that you exert isn't going to prevent you from putting in the same amount of hard work the next day. Everyone's going to have different philosophies around training, but what I just need to make clear here is that you find your way and you adapt and you change. No one can tell you what's best for you. You have that internal compass. Now, there are examples of, I just actually listened to this and it's a very good metaphor. Whereas, you know how dogs sometimes, they're very animalistic and they'll just go and eat shit? Like literally, they'll eat poop. That is like to us humans, gross. So when a dog goes and does something that is kind of, how do I put it? I don't even want to say it's wrong, but it kind of is, right? Like a dog eating poop when it has food at home, good food, it doesn't make sense. But The dog doesn't see it that way, is the point. The point is that the dog has less taste buds than we do, and they're so much more founded upon scent. And somehow, some way, it, they have those triggers where they'll just go eat things that aren't good for them. Now, when we tie this back into the overtraining, a lot of the times people don't know what's best for them. And you have to go through doing the wrong things, eating shit, if you will, to realize, man, that's not what I'm supposed to do. And what I'm basically trying to do here, not trying, my entire message is just like, hey, if you feel what I'm saying, if you can see, then you can skip a lot of the things that I had to go through. Because they've done this experiments with rats and it works with consciousness because the fundamental pillar to the rats is consciousness. But over time, they did an experiment where basically, without giving you all the details, the rats throughout time put through specific experiments, consistent experiments, the future rats, the baby rats, they learned faster. Even once other older rats started to learn it, that conscious learning of one rat connected to the other rats, even the ones that didn't actually physically go through the experiment. So the point is that consciousness works the same way. We all come from one thing. And I know the topic, right? It's warrior's rest, why recovery is not weakness. So when I say we all come from one thing, it's just realizing, man, your nervous system is communicating to you all the time, whether it be through regret, through fear, through strength, through rhythm and flow. You can feel when you are working with the vibrations that Tesla otherwise kind of showed. These vibrations, these frequencies, these emanations, they're unseen, but they come from your heart. And I've always been, I'm going to bridge this a little because I just want to talk about certain things a little bit more. But when I was a child, when they would talk about Egypt and the pyramids, I never really understood it, but there was some deep internal fascination with the pyramids. And now I'm starting to subconsciously, unconsciously make these connections where you can feel it if you're honest, if your eyes are open, if you really listen in life. You can feel the emanations and the frequencies which your heart is creating. And basically your mind and your gut are like these valves to help use the energy that the heart creates. Basically, you can feel in your mind and your gut the nature of your heart's emanations. You can also feel it in your chest too, in your throat. But when you stop overtraining from weak emanation, see, this is the funny part. Overtraining is so much more about the energy than the actual time, weight, and muscle and movement involved in the lift. It's about the energy. If you're training from a place of I don't have this and I need to have it, it's a desire, it's a weakness, it's a lack. If you train from a place of I'm confident, I'm strong, and this is what I do, then your body, your nervous system, the gains will all align themselves on a simple physiological level in which your body represents the results that you put in the effort for. But there's just a big difference between going in with a mentality where your heart is below 200, below courage, and then working out with this confidence, this strength, this gratitude for the ability to be where you are right now. And a lot of the times, the simplest way to harness yourself to the awareness of the frequency you're emanating is just the breath. So when you work out, sure, sometimes listen to music. And I would say, dance. If you're listening to music that you can't really get dancing to, you probably need better music. And again, that's one of those examples of you're just eating dog shit and you don't even know it. A lot of music nowadays is just emanations, frequencies, words that you actually don't want in your life, anyways. So if you're listening to music that doesn't align with what you want your future to be, let's say in the past, high school kids, they don't know jack shit usually. Get your heart broke or drugs or cheat on people. Then you listen to music that reciprocates that energy. Then you wonder why, when you're older, you have all that high school energy still. It's like at some point you have to filter that out. You have to make a decision to say, you know what? This isn't for me anymore. And forgive me, but bear with me, because I think bridging these topics out of just the specific point is extraordinarily valuable in communicating the essence of what I'm actually needing you to understand. So it's like like I said, I've been training 7 days a week for a while. There was a point where I was doing 3, 4, 5 days a week. That was more of I was just, I don't know. I was doing my best then, and I'm doing my best now. And I think that's what it comes down to, is your best changes. On the entrepreneurial realm, Alex Ramosi says, yeah, sometimes you're just going to suck. And you have to, the quicker you could admit and recognize and have that humility of, man, I do suck at something, but I'm not going to quit, and I am going to keep going, and I am going to get better. That's how you stop sucking. It's not like, oh, I, I'm so right. The fear of being bad at something is just going to keep you bad. At some point, you just got to throw away the fear and say, hey, I'm going to get better, right? So, point number 3, the difference between lazy rest and strategic recovery. So, lazy rest is of the essence of a distraction, where, again, if paying attention to your breath and awareness around your heart's emanations is extraordinarily valuable, damn, son, then then what kind of corrupts that is consistently going to be this laziness, or in other words, this inattention around how you feel. Laziness is really just a ignorance in relationship to what you feel and what you are. Damn, it's really kicking my ass. And when you begin to notice what led you to feeling lazy, right? Like, what were the thoughts and the actions that put you into the state where laziness seems okay to you? You unravel that, you'll learn and change. Where strategic recovery has an essence of the bigger picture vision is implemented into that recovery, meaning that you understand that Earth is a place that you will not be forever, and it is a place where you are doing your absolute best to share the depth of what humanity needs to see. There will come a time where humanity sees, and you seeing, you play an instrumental role in the game kind of completing itself. Now, the strategic recovery, it is a balanced and versatile and dynamic phrase to depict your ability to take moments and unpack them. Because through your life, through your days, you're going to have this movement where you start to see it doesn't have to be so simple, or it doesn't have to be so complicated. It can be very simple. Where, first and foremost, you notice that thought in relationship to identity is continuously of a different essence than the heart's flowing rhythmic emanations, where you'll be speaking, your heart is in rhythm, and you're not consciously putting words together. Whereas when you're really on that other end of not being strategic, you're forcing things. And that's how lazy rest happens. It's because you force so much that your body just really forces you to rest. And in that rest, you, I call it lazy because you cannot be lazy when you're aware of force. You know, so a paradoxical example may be someone doing more physical work could be lazier than someone living strategically. And that really means that they may brute their way through life, but the laziness comes in terms of the consciousness. They're just, uh, you know what I mean? And on the other end, you have this invigoration in relationship to strategy because you're putting pieces together not through force, but awareness. You can't help but see the pieces, right? And when those geometrical structures and patterns and non coincidental repetitions occur and occur and occur, you catch on to the nature of how reality is coded itself. And that awareness deepens your heart to reveal insights. And, back to the pyramid thing, I've always wondered, always felt so attracted. I'm really starting to comprehend why humans weren't meant to understand the nature of the pyramids. Because we see them to be just a structure, but in reality, they seem to be something so much more related to the truth. And that means the unseen, the emanations, the heart, and the vibrational frequencies. So, to me, I don't know when all of this comes together, but for us here today, let's just make it simple, which is recap. The exhaustion badge. Men wear burnout like a medal, but the truly powerful know that rest is when growth happens. Muscles repair, neurons integrate, wisdom solidifies. So you earn your rest. You're not lazy, you're not forcing, but you really earn that rest through being present with your heart each moment of every day. Now, the nervous system tax, every email, workout, decision, it withdraws from your energetic bank account. If you've never deposited through rest, you're running on fumes, calling it discipline. And that's what I mean by force. A lot of people are attached to the word discipline, but they're really just neutering themselves and forcing themselves. Now, at some point in life, there is that which is necessary, especially when you are that young boy who knows he's slacking, who's been a bit lazy. You're going to want to force yourself to um, find that earned rest. But then as you force and force and force, the season will guide you. And as you're not that young man anymore, the forcing will begin to erode itself, just as the snake sheds its skin. And you'll learn a new way of movement, a powerful way of being, which you still have discipline, but now it is rather a natural occurrence. It has no force nor effort. You could be doing something extraordinarily hard, which you used to struggle with, and now it'll just come naturally. That is because the presence and the breath in the heart is invigorated, connected, and awoken. The recovery ritual. The warrior rests with the same intensity he trains. Sleep is sacred. Sundays become non-negotiable. Recovery is the training you can't skip. So, in now summary, you're not weak for needing rest. You're intelligent. The lion sleeps 20 hours a day and dominates when awake. Stop grinding yourself into dust and start recovering like your kingdom depends on it, because it does. New episodes are out Monday, Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I wrote a great fitness book. I'd really appreciate you checking that out. It's in the description.